Imagine holding a tiny coin in your hand and realizing it aren't just any dimes. These are the most rare and valuable old Roosevelt dimes, worn and dirty with decades of history etched into their surfaces. Each scratch, from mint marks to die cracks. The 1970-era Roosevelt dime, depending on the era, the strike, and the demand. Today, we're diving straight into one of the most mysterious, misunderstood, and explosively valuable era coins of the modern era. So buckle up, because once you understand why these rare 1970-era dimes exist and how insanely valuable they can become, you'll never look at pocket change the same way again. Imagine this: you're sifting through a handful of coins, not expecting anything special. You see a dime from 1970, just another old coin, right? But then you look closer. Something's off. The strike looks unusual, the edges look different, maybe the metal color seems strange, or the design appears faint or doubled. That little off detail could be the sign of a rare mint mistake worth more than a brand new car, more than a down payment on a house, and in some cases, more than most people make in an entire year. The most famous class of 1970 Roosevelt dime errors includes the off-center strikes. These occur when the planchette is not perfectly aligned with the dies during striking. While minor off-center coins are common and worth maybe $1,000 to $4,000, the off-center, especially those with over half the coin missing, or with the date fully visible, can skyrocket in value. A huge off-center 1970 dime can easily bring $500 to $2,000, and if the date is clear, collectors sometimes pay $5,000 or more, because finding an off-center coin from 1970 with the full date is surprisingly difficult. Another unbelievable error is the double die strike. A double die happens when the minting die itself receives a doubled impression during manufacturing. When this die transfers the doubled image onto the coin, the doubling appears on the date, the lettering, or Roosevelt's facial details. Strong double dies from 1970 are incredibly rare. A high-grade double die 1970 dime can command $10,000, $20,000, and even up to $50,000 or more if the doubling is bold and dramatic. Even more exciting are the wrong planchette errors. These happen when the U.S. Mint accidentally strikes a dime design on the wrong metal, like on a penny planchette, a foreign coin planchette, or even leftover silver plankets from previous years. And yes, there are confirmed 1970 Roosevelt dimes struck on foreign plankets, which are among the most valuable errors of the era. A 1970 dime struck on the wrong metal can easily bring $30,000, $50,000, and in extremely rare confirmed cases, over $100,000 at major auctions. Another exciting class of errors involves die caps and struck-through grease errors. A die cap error happens when a coin sticks to the die and continues striking other coins, creating a unique cup-shaped piece that looks like no other coin ever made. These errors are extremely difficult to find for the year 1970 because most were caught and destroyed by the mint, but when one appears on the market, collectors go wild. A 1970 dime die cap error can bring $10,000 to $25,000, depending on the condition and severity. One more highly valuable category is multi-strike errors. These occur when the coin is struck 2, 3, or even 4 times in the press without being properly ejected. Multi-struck 1970 dimes are considered elite-level error coins. A dramatic multi-strike with visible overlapping designs can easily fetch $20,000, $50,000, or more. The more dramatic the error, the higher the price. The story of the 1970 4D-era Roosevelt dime begins with one simple moment: a small coin slipping through the machinery of the Denver Mint during a year when production was running at full speed. If someone back then had picked it up and looked closely, they would have never guessed that this tiny 10-cent piece struck fast, struck hard, and struck by mistake, and in certain dramatic combinations of errors potentially millions of dollars. And today, we're diving straight into one of the most explosive, mysterious, and overlooked modern era coins you could ever imagine. Because somewhere out there, hiding in old change jars, forgotten in drawers, sealed inside old mint bags, or mixed into loose collections from the 1970s, sits a 1970 4D Roosevelt dime with an error so dramatic that collectors would fight for it. A dime that could change someone's life in a single moment. That's what makes this story so exciting. You could literally hold a fortune without even knowing it. One of the most valuable categories is off-center errors. A small off-center dime might be worth $50 or $100, but a large off-center 1974 dime with 30%, 50%, or even over 70% of the design missing can easily bring $500 to $2,000, especially if the date is visible. And if the date and the mint mark D are both visible with a massive off-center strike, that can jump to $5,000 or more. Then we reach an even more thrilling class of errors: dramatic double strikes. These happen when the coin is struck once, fails to eject properly, and then gets struck again, sometimes at a completely different angle. A dramatic double strike, 1974 dime, can explode in value. Some of these can bring $10,000 to $20,000, and in extremely rare cases, over $50,000, depending on the severity. The double die variety. When a minting die is engraved incorrectly, receiving to misaligned impressions, the die itself becomes doubled. Every coin struck by that die features that doubling. The doubling may appear on the lettering, the date, Roosevelt's face, the motto, or other design elements. A strong double die 1974 dime is extremely rare, and a high-grade certified example could easily bring $15,000 to $40,000. And some experts believe the right die discovery could break $100,000. Another legendary category is wrong planchette errors. These happen when a Roosevelt dime design is accidentally struck on the wrong metal, such as a foreign planchette, a leftover transitional planchette, or even a penny planchette. A 1974 dime struck on the wrong metal can command $30,000 to $50,000, and in certain known cases, $100,000. Another powerful error from this year involves broad strikes and partial color strikes. When the retaining collar fails during striking, the coin spreads outward, becoming wider and flatter than normal. A dramatic broad strike, 1974 dime, with a fully visible date can bring $400 to $2,000, while extreme examples can reach $5,000 or more. The 1975 era Roosevelt dime, a coin so rare, so mysterious, and so explosively valuable, and today, we're diving straight into the incredible story behind this tiny but legendary coin. If you've ever thought a tiny dime could never be worth more than 10 cents, think again. Because out there, hiding in old coin jars, family drawers, or loose change, the Denver and Philadelphia mints in 1975 were producing coins at a staggering pace. The mint was still adjusting from the changes of the late 1960s, with the copper-nickel clad composition firmly in circulation and silver coins gone from everyday use. Presses were running full speed, dies were wearing down faster than anticipated, and mechanical errors were inevitable. All of these conditions combined created a perfect storm for rare errors that would decades later capture the imagination and wallets of coin collectors worldwide. One of the most common and highly collectible errors from 1975 is the off-center strike. While small off-center strikes might be worth a modest $50 or $100, dramatic off-center 1975 dimes, those missing 30%, 50%, or even more of the design, can skyrocket in value. Coins where the date and the mint mark are fully visible, despite the off-center strike, can fetch $500 to $2,000, and the rarest examples with extreme misalignment can reach $5,000 or more at auction. The thrill comes from holding a coin where nearly half the design is missing, but the date remains intact, proving it's a legitimate mint error. Even more exciting are double strike errors. These occur when a coin fails to eject properly and gets struck again, sometimes at a completely different angle. A bold double strike, 1975 Roosevelt dime, can bring $10,000, $20,000, and even $50,000 for the most dramatic examples. Some collectors actively search coin rolls and old collections, hoping to stumble upon one of these rare treasures. The look of disbelief when they are found is what makes the 1975 era dime legend grow. Double die errors are another thrilling category. A double die occurs when the die used to strike coins receives a misaligned double impression during production. Every coin struck from that die carries the doubling, often appearing on the date, lettering, or Roosevelt's face. A high-grade double die 1975 dime can be worth $15,000 to $40,000. And rare, dramatic discoveries could easily push values beyond $100,000. Broad strike and partial color errors from 1975 are also highly collectible. When the retaining collar fails during striking, the coin spreads outward, becoming wider and flatter than usual. Dramatic broad strike examples with the date fully visible can fetch for $100 to $2,000, while extreme specimens with severe spreading can command $5,000 or more. These coins are a favorite among collectors for both their rarity and their visual impact. Die cap errors are another fascinating category. These occur when a coin sticks to the die and continues striking subsequent plankets, creating a cup-shaped coin with distinctive impressions. Die caps from 1975 are extremely rare, and certified examples can bring $10,000 to $30,000, depending on severity. Multi-strike errors, which occur when a coin is struck multiple times without proper ejection, can also command high prices. $20,000 to $50,000, or even higher for dramatic examples.